6:04, and I'm going to call to order the Town of Bluffton Accommodations Tax Advisory Committee meeting for Tuesday, May 17th. And to establish we have a quorum, I'm Sam Britton, I'm present.
Mike Tripka.
Christy Pensky.
Nate Pringle.
Tim Wood.
And also at this time, I think it would be a good time to welcome Tim Wood as the newest member of the ATAX committee.
Thank you.
Would you care to take like elevator speech time and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank the Academy. No, yeah, absolutely. Well, it's an honor to be part of the committee. I've been in Bluffton since 2004. Was a founding editor of Bluffton Today. I've done a lot of different community projects, a lot of media projects, and yeah, family. Two boys, two dogs, a lab and a pointer mix, and happy to be here.
Well, welcome. Glad to have you. So I see, as usual, I don't follow the agenda. So at this moment, we'll go ahead and can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Same thing. So the next thing on the item to do would be the adoption of the minutes from February 15th, 2022. Everybody have a chance to review them?
Yes.
Can I get a motion to adopt?
So, second. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Miss Natalie, you're up. That's
All right. Good evening, ATAC. This is potentially my last report of the financial report to you all, but I am not far. I'm officially passing the baton to Sherquilla and to Jordan, and you are in excellent hands. But if I'm here, I'm not leaving. So if you need me, you know where to find me. But I'm happy to report that there are over $2 million worth of ATAX funds available, split between state and local accommodations tax as seen below. We have the DMO doing their annual presentation for their marketing plan for the town of Bluffton, and then we have 6 applicants that are requesting a total of $327.80. $837. I got it. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have on the financial report.
any questions?
Is the revenue up?
It is up. So this quarter we are up by almost 31% compared to last year this same quarter. So we are still seeing that trend increase.
And have we? Isn't there usually a lag with the state? Are we caught up with them, or are they just?
We have received their funds, and so there actually is a note on the financial statement. We did have a property that was included in our Bluffton area, but is actually in unincorporated Beaufort County. So we did an adjustment for that, and that adjustment is reflected on this report.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. So our next agenda item would be the committee approval and recommendation to the town for the DMO.
And they have a presentation.
Absolutely sure they do.
They have it up if that's.
I can just click through.
Well, yeah, it's yours and yours.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, right there.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? My name is Ariana Pernice, and I'm here to represent the Hilton Head Island Bluffton Chamber of Commerce and giving an overview of where we've been for 21 and where we would like to go for fiscal year 23. We will go through our plan, see how we can do with the arrows here. So again, this is going to be a presentation of our fiscal year 23 plan for the town of Bluffton DMO. Got it to work. So half the battle was the PowerPoint. So we like to always start with just where we as an organization have our eyes focused, and our vision is a welcoming world-class community, embracing nature, culture, and economic vibrancy for residents and visitors, with a mission to stimulate the regional economy while enhancing the quality of life for all. The role of the DMO, defined by Destinations International, is to represent the destination, help the long-term development of communities through a travel and tourism strategy. So we work very closely with our community here in Bluffton, many of the town leadership and leaders, as well as all of the staff and team here. And it's been a wonderful relationship, and we're very appreciative of that. When you look at the organizational governance, as the DMO, we are governed closely by our board of directors. We also have our DMO contract in place. There's annual independent audits. From a government standpoint, there is review by SCPRT, the State Tourism, Turk, Town Council, and the ATAC Committee. And then we are accredited by Destinations International. As I mentioned earlier, we'd like to look back quickly before we can look forward, so we can learn from all the efforts that were put forward and chart a strong path for that fiscal year 23. Though 20 and 21 presented some challenges in terms of changes and disruption with COVID-19, we were able to, as a destination, remain welcoming because of all the things that we put in place, such as our Path Forward initiatives. We worked closely as a community to ensure not only that we were safe, that our businesses were safe, but our visitors felt safe when they were traveling. That was recognized by readers around the country, as you can see here with Travel and Leisure, Country Living, and Forbes. They were also interested, if they weren't traveling in that moment, they were thinking about travel. And we saw that with the website numbers that you see in front of you, as well as social. And then actually, when they were traveling, putting those heads in beds. So you have your website visit. Now we have the standalone visitbluffton.org website, which launched March of 21. When we come back to present our Q4 findings of fiscal year 22, we'll be able to share year-over-year results. But as we're still tracking towards that goal, we can give you the year in review as a standalone number. So for 21, the website visits or hits was at 119,000. Handshakes out to partners, which we also refer to as partner referrals, was at 48,000 plus, which that was a referral rate of 6.4%. In social media, which again, if we're looking back a few years ago, before we stood up the visitbluffton.org website as a standalone, we used the social media platforms to really drive that energy around the brand, right? So we wanted to get great traction there, and that would help us catapult the website as a standalone. So those numbers on social media can continue to grow for us. As you can see comprehensively, we have over 31,000 followers, which is a growth year over year of 96%. When we look at the impressions, so those are all the eyeballs that see it, share it, like it, comment on it, and that was over 10.5 million. And our audience on social media remains female-driven, just dipping slightly from 2020 to 2021, but again, still a really strong female audience. When you look at the hotel line here, you can see that RevPAR number, which we hold very closely and watch very closely, which is at $224.60, which is up 114% to the year prior. Some new initiatives that we're very excited about, and we are shouting from the rooftops, is that website as a standalone. We are very excited about it. It was a long time in the making, and as you know, a lot of efforts that went into getting us to the position where we felt and holding hands that was the right time to do it. So again, we'll be reporting on our first annual year over year in just a few months, which will be exciting. We launched a video series, and it has done extremely well for us. We'll get to a slide later on, but over 18,000 impressions. Again, people on YouTube are commenting, interacting, loving the first series that came out, and so we're looking to really build on that and keep shouting the local aspect of things from going forward. I'll get back to economic impact report, but we all held hands as well with a dedicated official Bluffton vacation planner. So we had such great success. We're in year 2 of that, but exciting that we were able to not only produce this, we feel it's a great representation of the destination. You'll see that at the Hayward House, our office here in Bluffton, the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport, official state welcome centers. It is fulfilled and distributed out for any email inquiries, walk-ins, or phone calls. We fulfill those as well. The last initiative that we were very excited about to share with you tonight was the fact that we have built such a following from a tourism perspective that we were actually able to convert that into an economic impact report standalone for the town of Bluffton. What does that do for us? It shows you the overall impact of tourism to this destination. So it's telling us about comprehensively who are our visitors, where are they from, what age are they, what do they like to do, how are they spending their time and their money here in the town of Bluffton. And so that is, and it also gives us more insight into the overall demographic of who they are as a visitor. So that's been exciting, and you'll see some of that in the larger plan that you received. And it will help us chart forward as we continue to grow tourism for the town of Bluffton. In terms of paid media partnerships, we had a couple great initiatives with Southern Living. We were in their issue in January and February on their Island Escapes. We also did their South Best issue in April. And then we did a really exciting buy with Garden and Gun for the historic, surrounded the Historic Arts and Seafood Festival. So it is really a great example of how we would love to see all media partnerships going forward. But it started with Garden and Gun, and we did a lot of digital efforts with them and e-news with them. And then we brought in an influencer named Benita Aspen, who is somewhat regionally local, well-known, has now officially been picked up by Southern Charm. Very exciting news. She's officially part of the cast. So her follower base will only grow from here. And she was able to join us for the festival. She actually engaged with many of our businesses here. She shouted her experiences from the rooftop while she was here, and she gained, she brought awareness to it, but also gained followers. We gained followers from that. And then we also, from a town of Bluffton DMO perspective, promoted the event, Benita's trip, reposted those. So, I mean, it was a really well thought out, dynamic partnership, and one that we're looking to do as we go forward. And kind of, that's really the epitome of what a great media buy looks like. So it was exciting. And you can see we had reached over 5.2 million across, all Garden and Guns platforms, which was really fun. We launched Southwest service into the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport. They, in their efforts of launching, they work closely with the community and trying to connect with businesses so they understand that their service is available to connect people from different places back into the Low Country. And so we were able to hold a meeting out in Montage, Palmetto Bluff, with their elected leaders, with elected leaders around from the community, as well as their vice president of business, Dave Harvey. And we had around 30 people there. As you can see, Mayor Selka was there with us, as well as many other business leaders within our community, which was a very great and wonderful event. We supported Juneteenth, which is just around the corner again. And then we partnered again with the Historic Arts and Seafood Festival and the Benita Aspen piece. But this, I just wanted to mention it again. That was another great opportunity from an event standpoint. We've talked about the official vacation planner. We continue to make headway on that, and it's doing wonderfully for us. We'll continue to promote that and push that. We actually have an online promotion that's requesting people to request a guide, which is a lot of fun, taking that on the digital side. Our Bluffton video series that we talked about with over 18,000 impressions. When you look at public relations in the year in review, there are over 456 mentions, and that's specifically for Bluffton, which I thought was really great for the year of 2021. And when you look at the total impressions, and those are, eyeballs, total eyeballs, and they could have seen it a few different times. They shared, they commented, they saw it, it was picked up, people loved it, and that was over 2.5 billion. if we had to go out and pay for that recognition or that awareness, we would have come out of pocket close to over $1 million. And so that's the great power of public relations, right? It's those relationships that you build with those publications and those outlets that garner those mentions and stories that help build the awareness efforts out in the out markets about the town of Bluffton. So it's a really great synergy there, and one that we're excited to share with you. So what have we learned and all those details? We've taken those learnings, we put them forward in our 23 plan that we'd love to present to you. We worked very hard over the last few years with the town to understand the key areas of interest and growth that they would like to see us focus on. And those areas, again, are including history, culture, and arts. And we want to really focus on those district designations. National Historic Register designations, inclusive but not limited to the Church of the Cross and Campbell Chapel AME. All the parks, inclusive of Wright Family Park, Martin Family Park, Garvin Garvey House, and the Bluffton Oyster Company, and all the others that we have in our beautiful town. The Natural Beauty May River, the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor, Palmetto Bluff, and Montage. So now that we have our key areas of focus, we want to focus on who that person is who will be traveling in. And by having that economic impact report, we're able to glean some of that information. And so who is our traveler to Bluffton? Well, she skews female. She's our decision maker in the house. Skews 61% female. They come from an affluent household, 150,000 household income or higher. Their undergraduate degree or higher at 52%, almost 53%. They like to travel 2 to 4 trips a year, staying an average length of 4 nights. So now that we have who's coming and what we want to focus on, again, we will then target those messages based on how they interact with the website, how they interact with us on social media, and target to them family-oriented advertising, activities and recreation, so on and so forth. We have the capabilities of really being that laser-focused when we're serving up our messaging. So again, from a visual standpoint, we cast that broad net, right, to the qualified audience that we know, and then we start to pull that net in and talk to them specifically about their areas of interest. And as we pull them in, that net in, we're qualifying them, right? So we know they're interested, they've raised their hand, and then we pull them through. Is there a lot of intent there that they want to travel? And then we want to convert them. What is a conversion? Again, for us, it's that handshake out to the business partner. And that's what we're excited to see here. So I think that's a great visual. Again, we're pulling them through that funnel. Today's traveler, though, is kind of that always-on mentality, and I think COVID has only brought that a little more forward for us. So even if we think on how we interact or engage as a consumer, we might have a phone here, we might be looking at a billboard, we might have something on the radio, and we have our iPad on the other side or TV in the background. So again, that always-on mentality, you can't. In years past, I think we had a lot of opportunity to be kind of focused in on one medium. And today, really, the opportunity is to kind of think dynamically and be kind of woven throughout several different touch points at any given time. Travel is picking back up. People are traveling, and we want to be their top choice. We want to be, when they search for something, that town of Bluffton comes up first, at least in the first 3 of their ranking in terms of what they're seeing and being served. We want them to be engaged on social media. We want them to see our brand. And I think we do that by being this always-on mentality. So we're bringing that through to our 2023 fiscal year goal, strategies, and tactics. And we've done things a little bit differently this year. Our goal, we have one goal, right? The overarching goal of the DMO for the town of Bluffton is to drive qualified visitations to that website, to the destination, to our businesses, to put heads in beds, to put bellies through turnstiles, kind of an older term, but through doorways. So they're purchasing things within our stores, eating at our restaurants, interacting with our businesses, and becoming a part of our community while they're here. And so how will we achieve that in partnership? We have five strategies in tactics that go along with them. And the tactics they're not comprehensive, or we can add on to these, but just to give you an idea of how we will approach each of these strategies. So the first is build brand awareness and support qualified visitation to the destination among our target markets. So again, using that rich insight that we have from the website, from our demographic economic impact report, we will laser focus in on that qualified audience of who has intent to travel and bring them forward. And we'll do that through PR, user-generated content, social media, traditional ad placements, digital display, and so on. Strategy number 2 is drive discovery and exploration of the destination. We need to tell deeper stories. That video series, I believe, has done so well because people love a good story. They love to be able to tie into a community, to a destination that they're visiting, and understand why you chose to develop your business, to be here, to serve that visitation community, those visiting the community. And so we're excited to help tell those stories. We want this to be the heartbeat, bring that heartbeat to life through these videos and continue to share those opportunities with the visitors. Strategy number 3, leverage a strategic mix of targeted methods to identify and reach the most qualified users. So it's quality over quantity. We want to make sure that those that we are reaching are qualified and have really the intention to travel or are interested in the town of Bluffton. And so we'll do that again by using some of that insight that we have we could optimize all of our search efforts for paid social media and our personalization. We don't want to serve somebody who prefers to be out on the water, something about culinary. It might not make sense. So we want to be really focused on what they would want to do if they were traveling to the town of Bluffton. Strategy number 4, enhance leisure and group business through qualified visitation. So this is a kind of a two-prong. Leisure, again, continues to be our number one opportunity, but also group business is coming back. And what is the right mix of group business for this destination? We have several opportunities within our hotels, but also just to host, if they wanted to come down for the afternoon and have a dinner or a luncheon to celebrate their reentry into traveling for business. And so work closely with our hotels, we'll work closely with our venues to understand how we can help support them. When we're out at trade shows, we can put that out in media outlets that serve just the trade portion, the group business of it. And then obviously we'll focus heavily on email marketing. It's a new initiative for us in 23. And just again, laser focused in on the personalization of those messages that we send to our leisure traveler. Strategy number 5, create an understanding of and respect for the delicate ecosystem. And so for town of Bluffton, we really want to understand that the visitor here is connecting into the things that we value so much as residents. Right? We want them to, when they're out on the May River, to enjoy the May River, but respect it, understand that it plays a vital role in what we do every single day, and that our lush greenery is important to us, and just have a respect for that. And so we will continue to, shout that from the rooftops, but create dedicated campaigns around that. As people start to venture out and we have new markets that are traveling to our area, they might not understand that those things are important to us, but we'll make sure that they do when they arrive and while they're here enjoying their time. And hopefully that's what brings them back as well. And this is the budget here that we have placed in front of all of you as well. I know it's a little bit tiny. I do apologize. But I'm happy to answer any questions. Hold on this screen. Or go to questions, which are the next slide. Bye.
Ariana, how many more digital vignettes are y'all going to make this year? You know?
We were targeting 4 to 5, and we would work closely with the town as we did in the first series to make sure that we have the right mix of businesses. Again, and that list has been exciting to be able and to go out and see who we can capture next. So we did about 5. We had 6 originally, and we weren't able to bring that 6th one around, but we hopefully will do it in this one, this iteration of it.
Is that economic impact study available to the public?
It is shared, yes. We share that. It's our first year doing it. It's done by the College of Charleston. And yes, absolutely, sir, we do share that. So once the plan is approved, we will put that on our Think website, which is where all of our research is stored. But also, you should have access to all of that based on the plan being shared, Natalie. I believe that was in the back of the plan.
How has your marketing gone towards corporate clients? Meetings, retreats, et cetera, like that. I was just involved with a group that actually came to Hilton Head. It was there's like 30 people, but the first time they were here. And in a corporate setting, of course, with that, maybe in the morning they have their meetings, in the afternoon you're free. And of course, those are the people, they go back and then they bring their families back. So what sort of plans do you have to maybe tap that market?
Absolutely. It's a great question. So we have that team in place. So they are working hard for the destination, and they are out. So people are traveling again. They're getting back together for meetings and groups. And so now we're out at those trade shows, making sure that those that are planning for those events, whether that be the smaller corporate groups, associations, the Smurf segment, we have that covered through those trade show and outreach. And then we work closely with each of the hotels and the DMC and the RMC groups to make sure that we're aware of all that's going on and how we can help support them when they bring them in. But we are out shouting it from the rooftops that the Low Country, town of Bluffton, is a place where you can and should hold your business meeting or event. And it's been exciting to see that pick up after 20 and 21, which didn't have as much traction on that segment.
Well, not only trade shows, but if you go after the trade organizations.
Yes.
Like, for example, my daughter works for IEEE.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So, and she does planning, of course, not here, but over in Southeast Asia. And it's just another area, if you can bring that to people, even for their smaller regional conferences that they put together for some of these professional organizations.
Absolutely.
It translates, I understand, all the print stuff, Southern Living and everything else. But, this brings in a much larger group. And actually for last year, had a group come in from Idaho. They were here and they actually stopped at my business. We set up a little after hours thing for them. They just actually picked it out randomly. So, there's people out there that say, hey, come here. You go to people in Minnesota in December or January, come here, it's 50 degrees.
Right. A little more
60
tolerable,
degrees.
right?
They'll love it.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's another area of marketing I think that you need to do. And I understand, maybe it's not directly targeted to Bluffton, but to keep it in your whole marketing plan for the Southern Beaufort County area.
Absolutely. Great insights. And I will share with Natalie, and then if you could pass on my behalf, our organization's behalf, the list of our trade shows, but also the associations and groups that we're attending and are part of, and if we can add on to that, I'd love to get those insights.
I don't know if this is where I need to ask this question or not, but earlier in your presentation, you said that something about the airport. So you do advertising at the airport, is that correct?
We have the official vacation planner there and work very closely with the airport to promote the air service into the airport. Absolutely. When you come down the escalator and you have the big welcome information center, so they have all the books, like we have our book there, and it gets asked for all the time. All the state welcome centers also have it, so the one off 95 before you head into Georgia or head back from Georgia, our book is in there. So the advertising isn't necessarily on like the rolling or kiosks that you see there, but more so in the book, and then working very closely with their leadership team to promote air service, bring new air service in. And one of the large draws is the town of Bluffton.
That's the Savannah Airport, Savannah Hilton Head you're talking.
Yes.
I was just talking about Hilton Head. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then we have the Hilton Head Airport.
Yeah, any efforts in terms of the Hilton Head Airport and just with the increases coming there and the expansion coming there?
Work very closely with them as well and work on air service recruitment and, help support them in all of their needs, have our efforts there. So we work closely with both airports in that regard. We're excited about their development as well.
So I just have
Yeah,
one more question
no problem.
about that. So there was a guy who came in to my business and was telling me about, oh, you should, advertise at the Hilton Head Airport. And then I was told that that the chamber had a wall of stuff to advertise, but it was only for Hilton Head, nothing for Bluffton. So what I was just wondering is it just a wall of things for Hilton Head, or is it people can advertise there and get a discount because it's through the chamber or because the chamber's sponsoring it?
Yes, a great question, and I thank you for clarifying the airport that you were talking about. I thought you were talking about the Savannah Hilton Head. So there is a partnership right now with a restaurant group there in the airport at Hilton Head Airport that we are working with. They approached us, but we're happy to talk about something more robust that would live a little longer for other partners. But that was a one-off opportunity that came to us a few years ago.
Okay.
But that is that specific one. But that's not to say we couldn't work with others in the community to see if there was other advertising opportunities. That one is just specifically promoting the restaurant and a restaurant group, and we fill the other half of the shelving with it. So, okay. But it has worked, and we would love to see if there's more opportunity if that's something of interest. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Are there any billboards in general in the media mix in terms of?
There aren't. We have in the past done the billboards. This particular set in the airport is a small acrylic framed piece that holds guides as well as their restaurant book. And we just have a 50-50 share on that. However, billboards in general that you would see, the very few that are on the 278 corridor and then out on 95 are not ones that we're participating in terms of our efforts. We're also looking at that law of the 50% or 50 miles or further as well that we need to be. And we feel that there's more impact at this moment with our digital and social efforts that are in place. And then we mix in our other offline efforts, as you've seen with our print media and vacation planner.
Additional questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's time.
Are you ready to move to the next applicant, or?
Let's try it the other way, that we didn't try it last time, but did the time before. So let's take a moment and go ahead. And we're going to vote on the applicants as they come up this time. In the past, we've done it different ways, but I missed a meeting and it happened in a different way. So now we're going to try the other way that I haven't been a part of. So with that said, does anybody want to make a motion regarding the DMO application?
Make a motion that we approve the ask of $500,000 to the Hilton Head Island Bluffton Chamber of Commerce for our annual DMO.
I'll second that. Discussion. Guys, I think it's just accepting the Beaufort Hilton Head Chamber of Commerce as our DMO because that money fluctuates depending on the
How much
actually
comes in, but, and also that's because the town's designated them as the DMO.
Well, that's what we're actually, and so that the amount of money will vary depending on what the is. So I think our goal would be just to designate or affirm that that's who we would like to have as our DMO. Is there any discussion other than the way that the motion's worded? Thank you.
So to clarify for our end, you're approving them, the marketing plan that was presented.
Okay, it should be, make a motion to approve the marketing plan
Yeah.
as presented.
Yeah.
I would second that. Any discussion on that? All those in favor, say aye.
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 I think that was unanimous, Christie?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry. So unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Ariana. So now we would move on to our next agenda item, which are the applicant presentations. And the first up would be the Juneteenth celebration.
Yes, and this is the applicant where we have one in person and then one is also on via Teams. And so, are you going to present first, then you want to? No, she is. Oh, she is, okay. All right.
I don't know what happened.
That's kind of
That's cool.
Multiverse.
And it's
Okay.
backwards.
All right. Okay, and so Courtney Young is on the virtual. Courtney, can you hear us?
Hello?
Oh, there she is. Okay.
Can you hear us? Courtney, can you hear us?
Hello?
There you go.
There you go.
Can you hear us?
Courtney, can you hear us? Shake your head even. Who's this?
Courtney, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
The microphone is switched off on the Zoom.
On the computer?
It's automatic approval if it gets right.
Right.
There's the microphone, that, make sure that's on mute at the moment.
Oh, that's unmuted. Now it's muted.
Now it's unmuted.
Okay.
Do the other one, do that, it was unmute, there.
Courtney, can you hear us?
I think that means that it's muted.
That's muted.
Yeah. Yeah, so now.
Now she should be
I
able to
don't know
hear us.
how to.
Can we type it in?
I'm sorry, do you have her cell number that you can put her on to?
We can hear her, she just can't hear us.
I know, so if we have her cell number where she can actually,
Oh.
that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
Just texted somebody right now. And then probably if we need to have her speak, she can put the phone close to the microphone. She may not be able to, is she there?
Oh, she's.
Hey, they can, can you hear us when he's trying to speak to you? So you want her to talk and then?
So if we can put her on speaker and hold that microphone near her, and you can hear us? Shake your head.
You hear us?
I can hear you, it's on right now.
Okay.
All right, can you hear us as the committee at all?
Hear you when we're on Teams.
So you can hear us?
No, she can through the phone, but she couldn't hear us through Teams.
Okay.
She has her on speakerphone right now.
Okay.
And then if she has a presentation, she can open up her screen.
Because now you're on the breaking up, so if you're still talking, I can't All right, so I'll hang it up and let her speak and then call her back.
I don't,
Do my part, and then you can ask me questions on speaker if that works.
I think that would work.
Oh, look, something did that.
Okay, so where to start?
Sure.
Okay, Courtney, you ready?
Can you hear me still?
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I still can't hear you. All right.
Your chat where we can tell her?
can you let her know that we can hear her fine, let her do her presentation? And then we can ask her questions and you can relay them? It's the best way I could think to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is she doing her presentation?
Good afternoon, everyone. I cannot hear you, but I know that you can hear me. So if it's okay, I'm going to go ahead and give you an overview of what we are working on with the Bluffton MOK Committee for the upcoming Juneteenth celebration. So again, I hate that we have the technical difficulties, but I'll be dialed in on speakerphone to answer any questions following our brief presentation. So my name is Courtney Young, and I have the great pleasure to work with the committee to provide marketing support this year for the upcoming Juneteenth celebration. We are so excited about what is to come here in just a little over a month. So here we go. Our plan includes several layers of marketing. It includes radio. And in radio, that is both analog or regular radio that you hear and digital radio. Of course, our goal and our priority is to be able to stretch beyond the 50 miles that is closest to the area and to be able to drive folks to the area. And so radio is one of those methods to do that. So we're using 30-second promotional ads that will air on those stations starting in just a little over a week. The next up, we will have a new addition to the marketing mix for this project, and that is streaming TV ads. The streaming TV ads will run on the Spectrum network, and they will be a 30-second produced ad that tells everyone about what we are working on and what we are and what's to come. So we're really excited about that. TV added in the mix is just a super bonus to be able to reach folks as they are preparing to come, those that are streaming their TV and their cable at this time, which we know a lot of folks will be, and that they are. And we're excited to be able to use that as a method, one of our tactics, in our marketing mix. We're also using social media and sponsored ads. So you'll see posts that have already started talking about the upcoming event. On that event, on those social ads, we're also able to recognize and acknowledge some of our local supporters and partners. We are talking about where to stay, what to do while you're here in Bluffton, places to go and things to see in addition to coming to our event. What we know for sure is that our entire community and ecosystem makes up the benefit of all things that when folks are visiting. So we want to be able to maximize that. So we want them to go stay at our partner hotels that are in Bluffton, and when they are not eating with us, be able to eat at some of the local restaurants and of course do some shopping. We are also we're using sponsored ads to support the social media mix there. And those sponsored ads are really just an opportunity to be able to engage people as they're searching for what to do in the area, as they're scrolling through in their normal feeds. Those ads will pop up, so they'll see a few varieties of what that looks like. So there's a family version, there is a come as a group group of friends that may come together. There's some for those that are in a more mature age to be able to come and hang out. So we want to have a good mix of what people know will be happening. We also have, as a part of this marketing mix, digital ads that are running through Local IQ. And those ads are anytime folks are searching Bluffton today or looking at things to do in Bluffton, those that are outside of the local area. Because of course those are restricted by the parameters that we add to them, and some of those parameters are beyond the 50 miles. They have an interest in the local area. They may be interested in history or culture or food or music or art. They may have a family. They could be single or married. So those are some of the parameters in which we're using to guide that interest and that target audience to be able to connect to them. So those are the primary ways that we are reaching out to visitors and tourists alike to be able to come back to this annual celebration and to come to it for the first time. So that is a quick rundown of what it is. I'm certain that you probably have some questions. I'm very happy to answer those. If you're okay, I'm going to switch to phone so that I can hear you to be able to do that. And I'll do that now.
Does anybody have any questions?
I do.
Have it.
Okay.
Are you gonna?
She's calling me now. She's calling me now. Mm-hmm.
So if
Yeah. Well, they can hear you. You're on a speaker.
Oh, hello, everyone.
but I think, ma'am, we want to make sure she can hear the question, so it may be either.
Okay. I can repeat them.
Okay. Oh,
Okay. So I read over your packet, and I understand that taxes aren't finished, but do you have any idea what you did last year
You mean
for this event?
You mean the people or?
Yeah, like how much you raised, how much you did in expenses, profit.
The question's for me.
Okay.
Submitted. Okay. You said how much we paid last year, or?
Well, usually it's part of this, and I understand it says the P&L won't be done until after your taxes and they're not finished yet. But usually after an event, you know that you made X amount and you know your expenses were X amount even before you do taxes. So I was just wondering, like last year, I know, I read this and, I know that y'all had a really good event last year. I was just wondering, how well you actually did.
I mean, in regards to fees and. Let's see what that. I'm seeing all the ATAC reimbursement. I don't see the actual. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'm just going to make you a suggestion. So, like, if you look at your 2022 budget, you had a 2021 budget also, because we did this last year.
Yes.
So what I would have done, or what I'm going to suggest, is I would like to see, like maybe for next year, is you say, okay, this was our budget for 2021, this is what our budget for 2022 is. This is what we spent in 2021. This is, you don't know what you're going to spend in 2022 because you're not there yet.
Yeah.
So then you can see how successful, or we can see how successful this event is. Because then the more successful you are, the more we're going to be like, yes, let's go. Let's make it bigger for next year. Is that correct? Is that fine?
Yeah, so what we're seeing, we're seeing your request, but we're not seeing any of what y'all generated, what your actual expenses outside were. My big thing was, with 2,000 people roughly is in attendance.
3,000, yeah.
Last year was 3,000. Eagles Field was 2,000.
So with your, just kind of, I know it's hard to get USCB out there to do any kind of a, where you from, but it's just a general sampling. It really makes a difference from our point of view, what you're eligible for reimbursement.
Yeah, last year we did we had the trolleys, we had someone on the trolleys taking the number of people that were coming on.
And did you get a sampling poll of the total number of tourism versus locals?
I know last year we had people as far as Atlanta, Oklahoma. The farthest was the Canary Islands and surrounding areas.
So when you ask them, if you're going to do that again this year for the trolley, ask them to take a poll of them. So we know that we had 10 people from the Canary Islands. We had 50 people from Atlanta. So you can do something like that, and then you can show a little more than just saying we had, somebody. We actually had this. This was the percentage. Our percentage of our total attendance was 65% were well past 50 miles.
Yeah, well, this year we're doing the tickets, so we're doing RSV tickets for Friday, Saturday, and brunch tickets, so that way we can have an exact location of who's going to be where, who's coming from where.
So the percentage of tourism.
I'm sorry?
And to be able to collect the data, to be able to use that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the percentage of tourism data is kind of important when you're doing this, particularly. The more important was how many people came here going to spend the weekend. That's the real important one. So we would appreciate that, along with kind of a profit loss statement of what you're actually generating from the event. And of course, we know what the asks are from what we're doing, and then a reconciliation of those numbers. On your request, I will note, and I don't know if it got corrected, but you have a greater ask than the 50% limit that we have. Is that still true? They're requesting 28,400, but they're only eligible for half of the budget of 47 something.
Yes, it was 23.
548.
21,774. You're eligible for 43,548, so half of that's 21,774.
They asked for 20.
That's on.
All right.
Yeah,
So just.
right
Gotcha. All right, so just let you know, so, and staff at ATAX is really helpful when you're putting these together. They can help you show where to put that stuff, how to put it in there. Sometimes some of that stuff is a higher or lesser percentage depending on your tourism draw. But, and certainly we have an internal cap of 50% of your total budget that you're eligible for, that you can ask for. Anybody?
I have one more question. So on your 2022 financial statement, and it has your grants, your debt assets and everything, and then all your fundraising events that you have planned and have had. it says expense, it says personnel. And now, is that like people on payroll, or is that like police officers and stuff like that?
Police officers, we don't have anyone on payroll.
Okay. I would probably change that wording. Just your personnel would probably change it to like the police officers or something else, or all the other different things.
Security. You don't have to list
Security.
it as security.
Just because it sounds like somebody's on payroll and they're getting paid.
Oh, yeah.
And I assumed that, so that was just my question.
I'll say this with your, just getting back to where everybody's coming from. I mean, it's impressive somebody came from the Canary Islands. You have 3,000 people. 3 people came from Canary Islands. What percentage of the people is that? I think that would, in your case, what's more effective is if you're going to do a sampling, is even if on the trolley, how many people came from 50 miles away? 50 miles, how many people came from 100? How many people traveled to stay overnight? You do those 3 questions. I think you'll get a better indication of the percentage of people traveling to here, than just saying, hey, Canary Islands, that's great, but there's 3 people.
That not only gives us the perspective in terms of how to, like you said, better fund or better understand the full event, but also just to know where to put those marketing dollars, those advertising dollars next year.
Yeah. Question on your budget. You got cash sponsorships, so that's donations from people sponsoring the event. You also, on Saturday, have vendors. What are you charging your vendors for a vendor fee?
We charge vendors because being that we charge, our vendors is $60 for regular vendors and $100 for food vendors.
Okay, and you're not showing that as part of your income?
This is part, I guess we do the Gullah Market every month. So this is a part of the Gullah Market in addition to the Juneteenth Festival.
Okay, and you're also doing the food truck event?
On Friday.
Okay, and how much you charging the food trucks?
$100.
How come that money is not entered into your income?
Well, we just started to do, it was basically trying to find a venue, and we were able to get the Eagles Field. And so we're still trying to get that.
Right, but I'm saying as part of your budget,
Add that
you're
in.
going to anticipate 10 food trucks at $100 a piece. So you have income of $1,000. It's got to show somewhere. Just can't all of a sudden come in.
Yeah, I understand.
We need to figure that into, where we're at as far as how much eligible money you may have.
How many total food trucks are you looking at?
We're looking at 10.
Any additional questions?
I have one more. On the venue, I noticed now that the $10,000 number, is that for Eagles Field, and what's the breakout in terms of the Eagles Field cost versus the Burns Church Distillery cost?
The Eagles Field cost? Eagle Field charges, I believe, $500 for nonprofit.
Okay.
So 9,500 for the other venue?
Well, it's a 3 week for the Burns Church Distillery using this 2 days for 2 days.
So this budget's not just for Juneteenth, right? This is for all the different things.
The Juneteenth Festival is 3 days.
The budget that we're looking at in the presentation, is that for all that you do, or is it just a Juneteenth budget?
It's all, everything.
Can I make that suggestion?
Sorry? Do it, yes.
I think it will help just to break it down a little better is if you have 2 separate, one for Juneteenth and one for your organization. Because what we're here for this is specifically just for Juneteenth, not for the whole thing. If if you want the whole thing, then it just needs to be, I think it needs to be worded different. Am I thinking wrong on that?
So what we try to express, and this is for everybody, because you can all hear me anyway, is our goal is to help you have the greatest event you can.
Yeah, the
We want to
Juneteenth-
find ways to do that. So when we're looking at a budget that's just for the Juneteenth event, for example, instead of everything, and we have better material to work with, our hope is that we can help you make your event better. But without like specific tourism rates, without like I say, these guys are fantastic at putting together your packet. I believe one of your board members probably is really good at helping you through that process because she used to serve on this committee. But with that said, our goal is to help you have a great event. And the more information you can give us specific to that event, and that's defined to that event, the better we can do of being able to get you to that 2-week event.
Yeah, so the main focus is the Juneteenth on Saturday. That's our main.
Yeah, understood, for this application process, but see, now what we're seeing is there's some bleed over from what y'all do on a monthly basis. There's some, just this congruity in the whole application process of where it's at for us to be able to accurately track the information in there. And so when you finish, you're going to do the after action report or the final report to staff. They're going to ask you these same kind of questions that we're trying to get up front so that we can make a better decision. And I believe this is probably only your second application process, right?
Yeah,
Right.
second.
So just what we can do to make it easier, but some of that information just makes it so much more streamlined for us to be able to go, fantastic, we know exactly where things are falling from.
We can also make suggestions, like you could do this and you could ask for this money or, that type of thing too.
Any additional? All right, I'm going to ask Mike to make this because he's done the math. If you'll make a motion.
I make a motion to approve to the Bluffton MLK Observance Committee, their Bluffton 7th Annual Juneteenth Celebration, figure of $21,774 for their event.
I'll second the motion. Discussion.
Just, as it was said, it'd be great to know what last year's numbers were, and that, should this, come back to us again next year, I would expect that we would have, at the very least, 2021 numbers, and even if it's not finalized and your tax report isn't done, to at least have a preliminary P&L statement as far as, where all the money went from 2022, that it's not finalized. This is about where we're at. We took in $50,000 and we spent $50,000, or, however, it needs to be done. But we need that information to make a good choice.
Any additional conversation, questions, comments?
No, I'm good.
Just one question on just a clarification on the venue. Is that a discounted rate from a nonprofit rate from Burnt Church as well?
The
$9,500 for the 2 days.
I'm not sure.
We try to have an event there, I would think that's discounted.
Yeah.
Just saying. So with that, any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. This would bring us to the Boys and Girls Club of the Low Country for Bike Bluffton. Is that presenter here?
I just want to make sure that it's okay that I fold it down. Okay. Okay.
Whatever y'all got on.
No, that's fine.
evening. My name is Molly Sandman, and I am the president of the board of directors for the Boys and Girls Club of Bluffton. You guys have all heard of the Boys and Girls Club, right? It's the little blue hands that go like this. We're an organization here in the Low Country. We've got several different clubs, but we're focused on the Bluffton Club. What we have done in our community is try to reach out to children that need us the most, the kids that are behind in reading, the kids that might be from single-parent households, the kids that might just be a little bit behind and need a little bit of extra help. What we've discovered over the past few years is that people are kind of moving away from the big gala events. They like the activities. They like Juneteenth. They like Pedal with Hilton Head. They like doing things here in the heart of the Low Country. And so in Bluffton, what we've tried to do is develop events, AKA fundraisers, that are going to bring money into our club to help support our kids. We are focused on increasing our lower level donor base, getting the news out about what our club does, pull in those smaller donors, as well as pull in people from further out into our beautiful community. With some inspiration and some assistance from our sister club over in Hilton Head, we would like to initiate a new event into Bluffton called Bike Bluffton. It's a cycling event that we hope will be a great fundraiser for us, a great showcase of our beautiful, beautiful area, and be something that becomes a staple of Bluffton. So in that vein, I'm going to turn it over to my counterpart, Bruce Andrews, who's going to give you some of the technical data, and then I'll circle back with you.
Hey, let me just get this. Hold on to it.
Okay, so, good evening. Bike Bluffton is a destination cycling event. It's not a cycling race, it's an event. And it's there to raise money for the Boys and Girls Club. It's modeled after the successful event that the Hilton Head Boys and Girls Club have had for the last, they're in their fifth, they've just had their 15th event, 15 years. And they netted $102,000 for the Boys and Girls Club of Hilton Head. So it's a very successful event for them. Just to give you some background on how they have grown, you can see here that in 2017 they had about 250 riders. In 2022 they had 600 plus. So that's kind of interesting. But what's more interesting is that 18% of the people came from more than 50 miles away. Local riders represent about 38%. And then the rest, the out-of-town riders, which were people, many of them from the Bluffton area, from Sun City, where we have a lot of enthusiastic bicyclists, that were about 44%. The top markets for the riders for Pedal Hilton Head were from Charleston, Charlotte, Raleigh, Virginia Beach, Atlanta, Columbia, and Orlando. And there were actually some, I believe, from as far away as Tennessee. Bike Bluffton is scheduled to be on Sunday, November the 6th. It's a multi-level event for all riders of all different abilities. There are 4 different rides: a 5-mile family-friendly ride, along with a 20-mile ride, 40-mile ride, and a 62-mile ride. It's supported by the town of Bluffton, the Bluffton Police, and the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office. The event is expected to have at least 250 participants, and we're hoping to raise at least $35,000 for the Boys and Girls Club of Bluffton on this first year. The routes will include Palmetto Bluff and Sun City, and using the basically Bluffton Parkway as the key way to start the rides. Boys and Girls Club of Bluffton is, we're seeking $10,000 in ATAX grants to be used for marketing expenses for Bike Bluffton. For marketing, we want to present a professional image and market it to the Southeast. For brand awareness, to create a brand, we need to reach people many times with our message that will lead to registrations. As I say, our goal is to get at least 250 riders in the first year of this event. The marketing campaign will reach 10 million people. We're having digital through Google pay-per-click campaigns, retargeting campaigns, email campaigns to pedal riders, social media, Facebook and Instagram accounts, advertising on Facebook and Instagram, influencer campaigns. And then we have media and public relations, networking with cycling clubs and riders, print media pitches, press releases and events, an event calendar, and media coverage, radio, TV, and print. How will Bluffton benefit? Our marketing plan will reach over 10 million people in the Southeast, further putting Bluffton on the map. Increased tourism. Just 38% riders of pedal are local. The remaining are out of town and within 50 miles of Hilton Head. We expect 40 to 50% of Bike Bluffton riders from out of town. Most riders have family members supporting them for the event creating a demand for accommodation for 1 to 2 nights in the Bluffton area. And this means that the opportunity for them to enjoy our restaurants and to shop at our local businesses. The Bike Bluffton is a premier multi-level cycling event in Bluffton, South Carolina to raise money for the Boys and Girls Club of Bluffton, for our children and for our town.
Guys, I would just close by saying that Bike Bluffton is something that we perceive is going to be a premier event in Bluffton. There is a long play here if you're picking up on it at all. We're very, very fortunate to have developed relationships with our sister club in Hilton Head. We believe that this event will turn into something very large. Do I think it's going to happen this year? No. Do I think it's going to happen next year? Do I think in 5 years this is going to become one of those events? I absolutely do. I absolutely do. And this is one of those situations where we believe that we're fighting for the kids. That's what we believe. And Bike Bluffton or our Epic House Party or our gala or our golf events, those are just stuff to do. We get it. It's just stuff to do. Things like this, though, make a difference in kids' lives, and your partnership with us in helping us market this, helping us get past 250 kids. My goal is always more kids. My goal is always more kids in the club. I don't want just 250 riders. I want 600 riders, and then I want us to partner with them and have 1,000 riders, and then have 2,000 riders. That's what we want to do. We want people coming from Atlanta, Orlando, New York, Virginia, all over the place, and this is where it starts. This is where it starts for Bluffton with this event. This is going to be a new thing. Help us do this new thing here in the heart of the Low Country. We appreciate your time, and I'm going to ask for Bruce with any help with questions.
You're very lucky. I know at least there's 2 very experienced cyclists up here. I'm not sure about everybody else. So,
Well, I'm doing sign-ups too. I have a pen. I have a pen somewhere.
your routes going to be road routes?
They're going to be, for the family rides, they'll be using bike paths.
Absolutely, inside the complex where you're going to start at, I'm sure.
For the experienced riders, it'll be road riding.
And so when you talk about project expenses, you're going to have control on the intersections?
Yes.
With volunteers or with police?
Well, we're very fortunate that on our board of directors is Chief Stephanie Price.
Okay.
So we have a little bit of an in with the Bluffton Police Department, and she's helping us coordinate with the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office.
All right, I'm assuming Sun City is going to be part of your 62-mile route?
Yes, it is, yes. We will have both volunteers in terms of
Understood.
Handling the making sure the routes are safe, but we will have both the Bluffton Police and the Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, understood. Normally volunteers show you which way to turn and police make sure you don't get run over.
Right.
So I did Pedal for Kids back before it was whatever it's called these days.
It used to be, it was Pedal for Kids, and now it's Pedal Hilton Head.
Yeah, so, and I've been a cyclist, you never quit being, but you can't tell it. Your marketing plan, which is what we're trying to help you do. I don't know how the numbers get put off on the Hilton Head as far as their participation from out of town, but I know when they have it. Is it still like Labor Day weekend, end of the summer?
We have our event on May 1st, it just took place.
Beginning of the summer, okay.
And this will take place in the fall.
Okay, so it's local clubs that show up for it, and people here on stay. As far as getting participation, I don't know. Go ahead, please help up, because I'm trying to figure out how the best way for you to promote your event.
I'm part of this team, but
Perfect, and you're the one who wants to give me the answers. Let me please come up.
absolutely. One of the things that didn't come out in our presentation is the database for our Hilton Head event is over 7,500 participants. We also partnered this year with CAM Events, C-A-A-M Events. This is a company that runs 28 cycling events in the state of Florida mostly, and in Georgia. That database consists of 15,000 cyclists. So that's our immediate quick hit to get those people from out of the region to come to Bluffton to participate in Fight Bluffton.
Right, and so what I would say is to you guys is a 62-mile ride for a cyclist is 2 hours, 2.5 hours for a cyclist.
You would have to average 30 miles an hour.
25.
You average 25?
In the good days, absolutely. Every day. Now, I'll be on the 20-mile ride. But what I'm saying is, so in your experience, and if you've been doing the bike Hilton Head, you know that your long ride or your serious cyclist, they're going to go out and they're going to hit their workout. Rarely do you get your family and your beach bikes. They're all doing the other shorter rides, but the long one. So what I guess my point would be is, even if it took 4 hours, let's make life easy, 15 miles an hour. It doesn't gear itself to a one-day event being over. It's not like like the what's the one for? It's a 2-day event. They always have it. It's for like the Heart Association. I can't, for some reason, I'm drawing a blank on it. But overnight events, people, I appreciate the fact that we want to make it a destination, but I don't believe it lends itself to that with a one-day event of a short time. Not to say that people won't come here to stay to enjoy the rest and have a reason to cycle. But with that said, we're kind of generic in your marketing as far as it's already passed the screen. The number of impressions and people who are going to see your advertisement being 10 million, was that right?
That is, yes, that's what we've engaged Olivia Reagan, who's a marketing expert. She's helping us in terms of putting the marketing plans together. But the base that she is looking at together with the people from Hilton Head is we're looking at a 10 million touch in terms of the marketing.
Okay. So that was just, my concern was that we're taking how long does the event on Hilton Head take for the end of the day? 5 hours from start to finish?
We have staggered starts that start at 8:30. Everybody finishes between 11:30 and 12:30, and then we have festivities after that.
Correct. 5 to 6 hours, yeah. Start to
Yes,
wrap
sir.
out. Okay. Anybody else have questions?
Yes, I do. So I know that you said that Stephanie is on your board. But that's, okay, so I'm looking at your budget here, and I was thinking the same thing, that if we're going to have 250 bicyclists, I know they're going to be all staggered and everything, but you're still going to need police personnel to help direct that. And I just don't see any line item here that has that in it.
I don't believe.
The Beaufort County Sheriff's Office for the last 7 years has donated their time for the Hilton Head event and have made a commitment to also participate in the Bluffton event.
I would add that to your report, yes, because that's always going to be a question. So then my next question is, as Rangers, how are you? Libby O'Regan Marketing. So for this one event, you're paying that group $12,300 for this one event?
There's the initial, yes. So what we've discovered is that any event that we try to do, there's an event that we started brand new last year because we lost our ability to do our big gala. As I'm sure you guys have seen, branding matters, recognition matters, something that people can latch on to in logos, apparel, tchotchke stuff to put on their water. We had additional marketing expense because all of that had to be developed. So we're starting at ground zero with this event. Going forward in future years, those expenses won't be there because we won't be changing the logo every year. So our marketing expenses this year are front loaded. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, 100%. So can I ask a question up here? Okay, so staff, so this $12,300 for Libby is for branding. So they're making their logos and all of that. So branding, and I could be wrong, this is why I'm asking, would be a business expense, not an advertising expense.
All of it is not the brand development. You may have it handy. She has her monthly expenses broken down, which we can provide, and if they're not in there, we can provide them to you. Once you get past that certain date, 3 months prior to our event, all of her fees go towards the booths, the advertising, the digital, the social media, those types of things, her maintenance of her doing those pushes for us. So all of it is not that.
Okay,
that is included in that, so
I think that should be broken out.
Okay.
For being able to be eligible for the money. I mean, I'm a big supporter of the Boys and Girls Club, so I don't think I'm, not. But my other question is that since this is a first event and you'll have different data next year when you come back, if you're going to compare everything, again, this is just my opinion, but if you're going to compare everything to Hilton Head, like the numbers that 102,000 people and you had 600 participants, that's $170 a person that y'all made. And I understand that there's sponsorships and stuff like that, but it'd be nice to see where that breaks out, because y'all are talking about 35,000 at 35,000 at 250 participants, and that's 140 per person that you're going to make. So I would like to see more of where that's coming from.
And obviously for next year, we'll have that information.
Right, exactly.
This is a startup year.
Well, and that's why I said next year you'll have different
Oh,
data.
yeah, absolutely.
But if you're going to compare it, then I would put it in here so you can see it, just if you start another event some other time.
That makes sense.
Question on your logo. Like Bluffton for our children, for our town, shouldn't you also tie in Boys and Girls Club in on that logo?
Sorry, that was just an end. That's That was just
This is preliminary?
Placeholder.
the end, that was the last slide, but the bike Bluffton, that is the logo with the sun, and it will always, any time that appears, it'll have Bluffton Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, okay, then of course, the standard that should you get any ATAX money that or Bluffton logo.
Heart of Low Country has
Part
to
of
be on
Low
all the
Country
advertising.
has to be on there.
With what we do.
Yep.
Any additional questions, comments?
I wanted to back up what Sam said in the last presentation and what Christy was getting at. I mean, all these questions, we want to see this grow to where you want it to be in 5 years. So we're just trying to help you get there.
Oh, no, we appreciate it. I mean, this is our first swing. I mean, we've not done this before either, to my knowledge. I don't think so. So everything's a learning experience, and we want to help facilitate you helping us. So all of the input is great and appreciated.
I mean, I'd love to see the basketball event that Coach Bruin did grow.
I know,
That was a phenomenal
March
event.
Madness. It's amazing. No, what I can tell you, and this is just an aside, and then I'm going to get out of your way. Our learning curve right now is really steep. Times are changing, things are changing. There's new people that are involved in our organization, and so we're seeking people that have knowledge that can help us understand how to do things better. And the things that we're doing well, we need to amplify. And the things that we need to learn how to do, we need to make sure that we can articulate it so that you understand. I'm a banker. I get it. Black and white. There is not gray. It is black and white. You bounce to the penny. So we get it. We get it. We need your guidance. We need to understand how it works so that we can maximize it, so that we can bring people here, so that we can make them want to come on Friday night and stay until Sunday afternoon, because there's just so much stuff. The allure of our community is just so great that they're not going to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to drive from Atlanta. They're going to come on Saturday morning. They're going to stay for the day. They're going to spend the night Saturday night, and then their butts are going to get up and, like crazy people, ride 100 miles or whatever it is that they're going to do. That's what we want to do. Yes, to answer your question.
Why do you think people ride 100 miles crazy?
Because your hiney cannot tolerate that.
Not anymore.
That in a minute.
You guys, anything else?
You're pretty much on record, Chairman, saying that you're going to win the event.
It's not a race. It's not a race.
The 9-mile fun run for the kids. If they give me fast enough bike with a motor on it.
And that was 25 miles an hour you're doing?
Today.
That was uphill both ways?
John, if you do ever ride in it, you know that somebody's going to be there with a timer. So,
They used to do that. Thank you.
thank you.
That said, can we get a motion for this?
I can try.
Get it.
I make a motion that we approve the amount minus the branding. Does that work?
It's a fine way to start
Okay. Now what?
it. For,
For the Boys and Girls Club? Okay.
I'll second that motion. Discussion. So I think your intent, Christy, is to make the motion and make sure that we take the branding out of separate the advertisement costs from the cost of branding a program. Is that,
Yes, perfect.
anybody have a discussion about it?
Do we have a set amount, or do we just
We
saying?
don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they'll have to come back to us and say that, the branding was whatever. Because she said that, if I'm correct, you said that you have it all worked out of what it is as you get closer to it and all that. So it's not the full amount, it's just part of it.
We have a breakdown by month, and what we can do is go back to her, and if there needs to be a specific where she is articulating that branding, I mean, it's Libio marketing. She's a professional business. She'll be able to segregate it out so that you can tell exactly what's what.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much that piece of it was.
Right.
So we'll get with her on that.
And for what it's worth, when you return your advertisement bills for reimbursement, staff will vet that, and we just need to make sure that the amount of up to $10,000 is towards your advertising.
Okay, got it.
If that makes sense to you.
It does make sense. Yep.
Any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. All right, tonight, you okay? Did we make a boo-boo?
So just to clarify, your recommendation to town council is the amount up to $10,000 for the advertising that contains the logo, correct?
Right.
Okay.
To use, our recommendation to staff would be up to $10,000 used for the advertisement of the promotion.
Okay.
What a long night. Just tonight. I'll buy you 2 beers when we finish.
Blaming me.
Good evening. How are you all? I am Giovanni Glover, Executive Director for the Bluffton Gullah Heritage Center. Thank you for having me tonight. So our mission, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization that is focused on cultural and educational programming for the town of Bluffton in the area of Gullah culture. Basically, what we plan to do is cultivate community experiences through education and preservation, celebration of the region's Gullah heritage and history continuously. So we're not a one-time deal event like some of the other asks that you received tonight or that you're used to receiving throughout the years with the committee. So we will be continuously operating as a center. We are located, or will be located, we have not changed our structure yet or done anything with our structure yet, but we are currently going to be housed on the grounds of where the old, I'll just say the address, 1255 May River Road. And so it is a historic site or structure. The Deer Tongue building will be utilized as our Bluffton Gullah Cultural Heritage Center. So here in the town of Bluffton. Some of the things that activities that we will be sponsoring, which is where we look to bring in tourism to the area of Bluffton, is the having speakers. So you'll see a couple of the speakers that we have that are natives. Johnny Jenkins is an oysterman here locally. Kind of get people involved with actual what it was like or what it's like now as a oysterman, and if you want to experience how to shuck an oyster for your first experience if you're coming from Ohio and you've never done so. These are some of the speakers that we're looking to provide to expose tourists to the culture of Bluffton in the terms of Gullah. Some of the other educational programmings that we would have would be canning classes. So if you're not familiar with that, that would be where you would take vegetables and preserve them for the winter months or the opposite months of which they grow, so that you'll have access to that. We are also looking into indigo dyeing workshops, crabbing, shrimp net making. So the culture that exists through Gullah culture in Bluffton, we want to utilize the center to facilitate educational programming for tourists and locals to come and become educated in that area. Some of our calendar events that we're looking to do in August is Black Churches of Bluffton, so kind of educating the tourists about the hand clapping and the movements, the songs that were selected and sung throughout the establishment of the Black church in Bluffton and are currently still active today. And you can see the Bantu boats, remedies and cures. Those are things that we use here naturally, locally, as a part of the Gullah culture for healing or as daily supplements. We also have the cultural events, so Gullah cuisine, plantation history. So we hope that as people are coming down the corridor, the Gullah corridor from Charleston at the museum that is there, that Bluffton becomes a spot if they're on their way to Hilton Head, that they're not just driving through and maybe getting gas, but they're spending the weekend and also interacting with some of our historical sites locally as well, and participating in events and activities in the area related to Gullah culture. And so we want to house that, or be the house that welcomes the visitors. Impact to tourism, like I stated before, you know that Hilton Head has seen a lot, or has received a lot of hits as far as tourism goes, with people wanting to be more in tune and touch with the Gullah culture, and even in Beaufort County with the impact of the Gullah Festival there, the Gullah Penn Center being the first school. We want Bluffton to be a part of that, that trail of visitation, of people coming to get and learn more about Bluffton and its contributions to the Gullah culture. As you know, the Gullah Geechee corridor stretches from North Carolina to about St. Augustine, Florida. And so in 2020, the report was that about $34 billion were spent within the corridor, just on Gullah Geechee tourism alone. I don't have the breakdown on if it was more so food or clothing, items like that, but we plan to track that information when we have them here for our events at the center. They're here for the basket weaving. We want to make sure we keep a track of who's participating, where they're from. So we are, and as you probably already know from our packet, since we are just becoming an established organization, we have no revenue at the time of the application. However, as of today, we have about $75,000 as a pledge for contributions. And we also have a capital campaign that we are projecting to start within the next month to be able to generate funds for the operations and maintenance of our facility. So you'll see the capital campaign and how we are hoping that we can get donors to buy into contributing to our organization. So our request for funds, it's a little different than what you may have received in the application, just because we wanted to, we know we were starting off, and because we didn't quite know where our budget was going to end up in the end. We are asking for marketing, and marketing would include advertisements via rack cards, printing ads, digital content. So we know social media is a big piece. We want to get as many hits as possible for Bluffton, and definitely for the cultural center here. So we're going to utilize Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm going to work my way back up to printed ads. So families, what we found is that people are interested in Charleston, they're interested in Savannah. We want to hit those advertisement options there. And so any printed opportunities that are available, we definitely want to be in the airports. We definitely want to be in the hotel lobbies. We've also visited some of the welcome centers here in within South Carolina so far, to see where and how we can advertise for our visitors that are coming in or outside of South Carolina as well. And then the rec cards in the lobbies of airports and museums and within the Gullah Geechee corridor. So again, between North Carolina and Florida, being able to advertise at those locations. Restroom. So we are, because we are we feel like we are a welcoming center for Gullah Geechee culture in the town of Bluffton. We are asking for public restrooms that our tourists may be able to utilize when they visit in the amount of $30,000, which is different from your projection in the in the application that was received. And this is only 25% of what is going to be the requirement for construction of the actual restrooms. So we're not asking for the whole amount. We are looking to get contributions from donors to also contribute to the construction of that. I also adjusted the ADA ramp, which will allow those with disabilities access to the building down to $5,000 versus what I think you have $7,500 in your packet listed in the budget. And that concludes my presentation.
Let's state the obvious. What's your timeline for actually operational?
So timeline, at this time, we are looking to start operating with like getting contributions for marketing pieces or for the development of the building. We are awaiting some reviews that are happening within the town for the building and usage actually, so.
3 months, 6 months, 9 months?
We're looking on more than 6 months, 4 to 6.
Okay.
That's for, I'm sorry, so you're looking at a 6 month, the 3 to 6 month period before you become operational?
Correct.
All right. And where are you in the permitting process? Are you still actively pursuing permits?
Yes, currently yes.
And the design, I understand you're at the old building where the Deer Tongue building is at.
Yes. So the design, I was hoping that I had it available for you today, but I do not have it available, unfortunately. But I can make that available as soon as it is given to me. But the design would include maintaining the outside structure, utilizing the outside structure of the building, which is currently in existence, with our renovated inside structure, if that makes sense.
And aren't y'all moving the current building's location?
Mm-hmm. So it'll be on the same grounds, it'll just be moved to a different portion of the property or to another lot.
And the supporting structures like the old bar and the little restroom area that's over there, are they going to be gone?
So yes, so the restroom that is there now is supporting, yes. So they're going to be gone. The bar and the inside, we're looking to remodel the entire inside and utilize the outside structure or the outside pieces with the new structure.
I'm just going to clarify real quick. So all the buildings on the property except the barn are going to be taken away. And then the barn is going to be moved to the back of the property. Is that correct?
To my understanding, yes.
Okay. I just.
Yes. So like there's an additional trailer piece attached to the barn that is going to not be a part of the structure that we're utilizing.
I'm sorry, I want to ask staff. So staff, is there any way in the world they'll be 6 months away in even permitting?
I can't answer that. The only thing that I'm aware of is that they have preliminary approval, but there are certain things that still need to be, conditions that still need to be met, and so they don't have final approval for the site as of today's meeting, unfortunately. So that's the update that I have from the staff level.
So my concern is it's hard for us to grant you something for marketing that doesn't exist to be marketed, even out there without a time frame of when that can actually happen. I'm sure you guys have the same concern. And with us meeting, we're not like some of the other ATACs that meet once a year. I would be more inclined to have a better,
To have a final, like,
come back to us
approval,
at our next meeting or the following with the same presentation, but a defined
timeline of when
of
operation.
now we're breaking ground. We've moved this. We're going to be, someone's going to be here to do these events. That's me, but I'm sure if anybody else has questions or concerns that they should address them.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking to market something that doesn't exist. You know, so, you know, we don't have like Sam said, we don't have a timeline as far as, you know, for us to know when you're going to expend that money. The other thing is, you know, you're also looking for renovation money for something that we have no plans for, you know, other than, you know, somebody just says, oh, it'll look marvelous. You know, and I'm sure it will. My question is, on that particular piece of property, is your foundation, what is your foundation going to own? Is it going to own the building and lease property, or have property donated? Or are you going to buy a piece of the land? What, you know, what are those details? And then the other thing is, as you said, permitting. You know, I'm going to assume that the zoning is correct. You know, but do you have, you know, final approval that, you know, that it's a permitted use within that zone? And I speak, you know, from being a former zoning board chairman. So, you know, that's one of the first things you want to find out. You know, it'll look great, but hey, the town doesn't really allow this, or you need a variance, and then that adds to your timeline for what you're going to have. I think what we need as a committee here is, we need, if we're going to fund something, we want to see it. We don't want to, you know, I don't think we can fund wishes, which at this point, I'm not belittling this, but at this point, this is where this is at. You know, we're still, you know, we still think it's going to be, you thought it was going to be $45,000 for the restroom, now you're at 30. When you finish, it's going to be 60. You know, so, I mean, there's, you know, too many questions up in the air. We need just a little more solid information to come forth.
So may I ask for clarification? So we are looking to have information as far as the permitting, or at least being approved for permitting before applying for funds for the renovation.
Well, you know, and the question is, can we provide funds for renovation or new?
There's some language in ATAX for funds for facilities that are directly related to tourism. So I guess my clarification to you would be, without more information than what you already have given us, a concrete starting date, a concrete executable plan. I don't know that we could even at this point make a ruling on your request, just because there's,
Up in the air.
if we gave you $20,000 to start your marketing for something that doesn't happen for another year and a half, or 6 months from now, or 7 months, the question would be, why didn't we wait 6 months till you had a defined plan to move forward with? But that's and we can do it any way we want to, but I just don't see that there's a concrete enough plan in your side of where you're headed and how you're getting there, that we can even, like I say, even like I believe the part of what you guys are doing is going to be fantastic. It's just I don't know that how we can fund it until such time as there's a defined organization with a business plan moving forward.
Can I add to that real quick?
What?
Can I add to that? To what you just said? Can I add something?
Absolutely.
So in your presentation, and you have your marketing, what all the things you want to do, your rack cards and all of that, I want to give you A+. That's probably one of the best presentations for marketing, because you answered every question that I had about your marketing. So I just want to tell you that's great. I think as soon as you get permitted, and get your design of what you're going to do and where it's going to go and all of that, I think you'll have decisions going forward.
Could we get a copy of this document?
Well, Natalie has it. Yeah. Of the presentation?
Yes.
Yes. Natalie, it's fine for you to share, yes.
Because I absolutely what
And
Christy
actually,
said.
I have a physical copy I can give to you guys now. If you
This
want.
was fantastic in terms of the breakdowns and the giving the history, and gave a lot more in terms of the idea in general. Clearly is a great idea. I did have one question just on what you presented. The events that you discussed in the fall, are you looking to hold those in the current building?
On the grounds.
On the grounds?
Yes.
Okay.
So I would make a motion that we, oh, okay.
When we approve the Squire Pope request, did it require
House, yes.
building plans?
So I'm actually, I don't know the answer to that. I'm going to tell you why I would like to see them is because I know this building very well, and it already has restrooms in it, so I would like to see what updating to the barn for that money.
Well, so that portion of where the restroom is not a part of the historic building.
Is it part of the trailer?
Yes.
That's what I was wondering.
Yes.
That's
So
why I
there's a
wanted to see
walkway,
it.
So when you go in, there's the walkway. Everything past the wall that
The wall.
you see, yep, is so that it's totally separate from the actual historic building. So.
But that still doesn't answer my question.
I'm sorry.
I can answer, somebody better than me probably can answer this from town, but there is a fully developed plan for the whole restoration project at the Squire Pope House. And our ask and give to that was towards slowing down, so shoring up, so they were able to begin, excuse me, that process. But there's there's a fully developed plan for the full restoration, not the part of that house.
There's a fully developed plan now.
Yes.
My question is, was that plan in place when they requested funds?
Yes.
I believe there's a whole project plan for the Squire Pope cottage that
Fully
got through. But I will definitely confirm that for you.
Okay.
What's your concern? I said, what's your concern?
That was my question.
Okay.
It was an approved project for the town through their CIP, so.
So it's already been vetted and, oh, golly. To my knowledge, there's a fully developed plan to completely restore that property along with funding for almost all of it. But that's in the town information. Any more questions, discussion? So I would make a motion that we table this request until such time as the applicant's able to come back and give us a more defined timeline and a plan of procedure of how they're going to get to where they want to go.
A second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our apologies. That would bring us to the Hilton Head Symphony Orchestra request.
Good evening.
My name is Alan Jordan. I'm the president and CEO of the Hilton Head Symphony Orchestra. And I came low-tech tonight, and I'm going to try and get you caught up a little bit on your agenda schedule. But I thank you for your support during our recently completed 2021-2022 season. We are pleased to report that the successes in Bluffton last October and November have led us to move forward with more aspirational plans for this coming fall. We also hope the efficiency of a single application for both events is as welcome and appealing to you as it was to us. With successful events in 2021 and decreasing concerns about personal health issues, we are able to put plans in motion much earlier and are working in greater cooperation with our partners at the historic Bluffton Arts and Seafood Festival and St. Gregory the Great. We are also addressing some of the pitfalls experienced during the last season. Tent and stage equipment costs dramatically increased, and we are locking in on rates before additional increases can be levied. We are effecting better ways of capturing demographic information for all of our audience, not just those who purchase tickets, but also their guests. And more cooperative and advanced marketing efforts with the festival will increase our reach to non-residents so that they know of our concert before they make their travel plans. One of the committee members at last December's hearing made a comment about our free concert, and I will paraphrase here, that it was some of the best ATAC money spent. It is our goal for you to feel that same way about HHSO events every year. And I thank you for your consideration and welcome your comments and questions.
Thank you. Anybody have a specific question, concern?
Maybe I'm just a little bit behind on the times, but was St. Gregory annexed into the town?
Yes.
Okay. I sometimes am sheltered.
It's been recent, so.
My only question was for, I guess, us, is that asking for tents and stage, that we're allowed to provide help with that?
Facilities? It's an approved.
It's what's needed to help the project for the, in the past, we have reimbursed for tents.
And sound and lighting.
And I should say it's tents and staging that then is the same facility is used by the Seafood Festival for the whole weekend.
Anybody have additional questions?
Okay, yeah, now. Okay, so this, the tent and stage, this 20,000 is for the Seafood Festival, not for both of them?
Well, it's just our cost.
Yeah,
we allow them to use it for the rest of the weekend.
I understand that. So, but yeah, that is just for the seafood. That doesn't have anything to do with St. Gregory.
Oh, no,
That's what
that's
I'm
correct.
asking.
Yeah, we won't need a tent at St. Gregory. I don't think they want one either.
I figured they wouldn't, but I was just asking.
Well done.
Well, thank you very much.
If we can get caught up.
Thank you.
Can we get a motion?
I move that we approve the requested amount from the Hilton Head Symphony Orchestra for their 2022 Bluffton concerts in the amount of $38,784.
Is that the right number? That's not my number.
33,374.
I got 38,374.
Excuse me, yeah, 38.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I looked at the requested amount. $38,374.
I'll second the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I do not have a PowerPoint presentation, so I hope I don't bore you to death, but I'm just going to review kind of who I am and what I've been doing at the Historic Bluffton Foundation. So my name's Kate. I joined the foundation at the Hayward House Museum and Welcome Center back in December, and since then I have assumed the interim director role. I'm also the director of events and administration, so I played a part in composing this application. I hope I'm able to answer all of your questions to the best of my ability. But as many of you know, that the Historic Bluffton Foundation, the mission is to protect, preserve, and promote the history and cultural heritage of the town of Bluffton. Through education, marketing, hands-on preservation of buildings and sites, maintenance of the Caldwell Archives, and the operation of the Hayward House Museum and Welcome Center. We are asking for $175,000 to cover the cost for the Welcome Center, such as salaries, bank fees, insurance, utilities, programs, advertising, cleaning services, landscaping, pest control, what we need to operate and function on a daily basis. Last year, we had around 7,500 visitors, and that out of that, 85% were out-of-towners. Of course, we are reimbursed based on our what we call impact visitors, which are those that are out of town. To date, as of this writing, we've had over 10,000 visitors, and we are projecting to have over 11,500 impact visitors to date for this fiscal year. We've had nearly 6,600, and we project to have at least 7,600 by the end of this fiscal year, so June 30th. One of our biggest initiatives right now is learning how to become more sustainable monetarily, and so we are currently in a learning curve, but we've been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So a few key things that are within the application are self-guided tours. That's given us the ability to get more people through our doors, and it's also given us the ability to plan and have that time while we're at the Hayward House. We're bringing back school field trips. That's going to not only cover the Hayward House, but it's going to cover a smaller portion of the walking tour of Bluffton for kids and the Garvin Garvey House. We're back on social media. There is a note. I have not been able to get into the new and improved Facebook. I'm not technologically savvy, but I did exhaust, I think, every option possible. So right now, one of our newer board members and I are working on a social media plan. I've been trying to post as often as possible to promote not only things happening with us, but things happening with the town, like the symposium, which is extremely important. We brought our newsletter back, so if you didn't receive it, I would be glad to add you to our newsletter chain, but that's something that it's really important to me because community outreach is huge, and we want to become a bigger part of that in our community. We have a new membership program now. We will be detailing that at the Historic Symposium. I'm also consulting a company for donor software that will help us with streamlining our just email blasts, fundraising initiatives, and being able to have a database to monitor all of our memberships. Events. So revenue, based on the numbers in 2019, events brought in around 20,000. Our biggest generator is the Peanut Festival, so we are planning for that this year on September 24th. That averages 5,000 to 10,000, but we are also going to be doing a member drive. This isn't in the packet. These are developments that have happened since I submitted this. So more news on that as we get that going. But we also want to bring back the oyster roast and that sort of thing that have been done in years past, and due to COVID and this, that, or the other in the past couple of years, it just hasn't happened. And we're doing lunch and learns. So there is a blurb in here. We did a lunch and learn at Hampton Hall. There were 147 people who signed up, 142 showed up. Since then, they've had 2 speaker series unrelated to the one that we did, but this is something they do frequently at Hampton Hall. and only around 60 people have shown up. So we broke a record with our speaker series on the history of Bluffton, and we are going to, and we're working on developing more lunch and learn series so we can start engaging with schools, other businesses, and not just talk about the pre-Civil War and Civil War era Bluffton, but the eccentric Bluffton, the really fun part of Bluffton, the local artists, so 20s through, the 90s and now. And this would be an event that would be ticketed, and that would be a way to generate revenue and also engage with our community. I think that is my speech for now. What questions do you have for me? Also, my board members had to leave. They had to get back to their kids, so it's just me.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Don't be nervous. We're here to help.
It's okay. I'm good.
Okay, well, I have questions. So, I'm a numbers person.
Yes.
So, in your budget.
Yes.
For 21-22. So if you look at your 2021, you have like the gift shop sales is 8,000, and your approved budget for 22 is 1,500. So I would just assume that your stuff would start going up and not go down. And then it has tour programs for 2021 was 18,000, and for 22 it's 7. And then special events for 2021 is 7,000, and your 22 is 7,000.
And the 22. Oh, okay. I see where you are now.
So I don't know if it's a typing error or if these are really true numbers, but I'm going to say that they're really low compared to what 2021 was, especially since you have special events, and maybe this is not part of this, so this is kind of where I'm going to, is that y'all are renting out the outside for like events and weddings and everything. So my assumption, I was kind of surprised how low the number was, considering y'all are pretty booked, right?
Which number are you talking? Okay, so I'm looking at the 2022 requested budget, and
I have approved budget.
The approved budget.
The approved budget.
For 22-23? Or for what?
Well, it's the last one. I don't have a 22-23. I only have a 21-20.
It looks like this. It's on page 20. Page 20.
So it's not with all the other ones?
No, it is. So I have this page that is
Is it page 20?
Yes, page 20 has our operational budget, the approved operational budget. So it has, as of February 2022, our year-to-date actual, this fiscal year's projection, our total budget, and so it has that breakout. Also, I want to let everyone know that I have never done one of these applications before, so I had last year's to reference, and that's really all I had. So, I'm sorry if things aren't in a specific order.
Christy, I believe I heard her say that they had a little over 20,000 for rental revenue.
That was in 2019. That's the number I have. So that would have been for 1920 fiscal year. Last year, it's in the application. The Boiled Peanut Festival was up to the minute. They didn't have as big of a turnout because that was right when, I can't even remember which variant it was, but this is all information I've gathered from our former executive director, who I only had a couple months with. So.
And your budget runs June to June?
It runs July 1 to June 30th. So I'm trying to put eyes on the question about the budget that Christy had, the exact numbers.
So you have all the stuff in the back. It's the last pages. They are all the same format.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 2019, 2020, 21, 22. So that's why I was confused. I thought that was the latest one. So 20 is totally a different thing. Either here or there. I'll look at this.
Do you have the table of contents? Because that was just how I was referencing that.
It says the exact same thing that I was talking about.
Right, but I thought you were asking about in comparison for this year's budget.
Okay. Okay.
It's fine.
I want to be able to answer your question.
Yeah, I just don't I guess I just don't understand the how this is, because I mean, like, this is all the approved budgets, which is before you anyway, so I guess I'm probably not asking the right person anyway. You know what I mean?
And if it's composed, if everything's put together a certain way, I literally went off of the table of contents from last year's application. So if that's why, if the order,
These numbers are much higher than the other numbers.
So Welcome Center for 22-23, Welcome Center budget, I have $8,000 for special events. Welcome Center budget only for this current fiscal year for special events is $3,500. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I see your numbers here. They're different than the ones in the back, so that's.
So I would say that the reason being would be because we weren't able to have as many special events in the last year. I didn't create the budget. This is something that was passed down to me.
That's what I was saying. I wasn't asking the right person anyway, so it's fine.
Okay.
So at some point in the last year and a half, you guys have really revamped yourself just by necessity. You have staff.
The revamp has happened in 3 months.
Yeah. And so your plans on continued growth, what staff are you bringing back on? Because at one point, you had KE.
So Katie Epps is on our board now.
Okay.
She's at Palmetto Bluff. She works for the Conservancy now. It's actually, I'm sorry,
Don't be.
It's me.
Staff?
It's me and one other person.
Yeah.
Currently doing all the work. And then we have our board, which is great. We have another part-timer, but he's not really ever there. So currently it is mostly me. And then Evan is our director of tours and operations. We are actively trying to find someone to help at the Garvey House because that is in our budget. That is what we supply the person, but haven't really had much luck with that. So we have a team of docents, and they're helping us with our tours and that sort of thing.
Your goal would be to staff, so at one point.
Our goal would be to have an executive director.
Okay,
And so that's what we're working towards. We're trying to define what that role is. That's why I'm the interim.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine.
You're doing great.
I'll give you some background. The Hayward House has been a gem for this town as far as a welcome center. They've gone through, some rough patches. My wife actually was on the board for a number of years. They've always, pulled through, and a lot of people within town have helped them pull through. You'll get it done. Don't worry about it.
Well, and I think that that's something that, I'm learning, and I have 10 years experience in the event planning industry. And so that's something, I don't know if I just did that. That's something that I'm trying to bring to the table, but there are other things that have to happen first. And so it's just a matter of figuring out a way to manage all of that. And like I said before, community outreach is really big for me. And so that's why I'm trying to kind of hone that back in, because I feel like it's just been kind of stale lately. The Hayward House was one thing, and then it kind of was just there. And now one of my biggest goals is to make it what it should be.
That's a great goal.
Thanks.
One bite at a time. Just remember that.
You mentioned the Facebook issues. I would just say to you, I run the What's Happening in Bluffton group. I'm a moderator on the Ask and Answer group. That's 40,000 members right there. Lean on us. Whatever you need to get the word out, lean on us, because we'll help.
Okay.
You got the other thing I want to ask you about, the Doug Corkhorn. Is that new? Is that new, or is that something you guys are looking to promote in the near future? Or?
So that's something that I want to do a lot of things with. I haven't had the opportunity to meet him with. One of my coworkers was the one that was kind of facilitating that relationship and digitizing the art. And then I need to circle back to that. But we have been given permission by Doug to print. He's donated 300 pieces of art. But we're using it for our newsletter, but then to also have, printed materials to sell in the gift shop, a number of different things. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but.
We already know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
You do too, stop.
Reason I brought up that's putting my media hat on. That's a phenomenal story, just in terms of the donation and Doug as a
And he's awesome.
community resource. That is, I will promote the living poop out of that.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with you.
That
Definitely.
made minutes too.
Have you gotten like most of your docents back?
Nope.
Really?
Oh, yeah, that's been a whole other issue.
Yeah,
So, not an issue. I mean, they're volunteers, and we really appreciate everything that all of our volunteers do for us. But we lost about half of them.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are still a little gun shy as far
Yes.
as interacting with people and things like that. What we do in my business, we get people coming in, and we'll take the Old Town Merchants map, and we'll send them over to Garvey House. We'll send them over to Church to Cross. And then we also say, here's our welcome center, make sure that you hit there, if they haven't already. It'd just be nice to know if they're, if you're back on, giving tours, because I understand, from when you're working with Jared Jester a little bit, that you were going to go back to tours, was in April? I haven't seen Jared in a couple
reopened our
years.
doors on March 7th, and I did a presentation to town council. I think it was like the day after that. But yeah, we're back in action doing tours. That was in our newsletter. That's been posted on our Facebook page. It's on our website with the updated hours and everything. Same with Garvey, because we weren't able to honor the original schedule because the docent that we have who's volunteering can only volunteer one day, and the other docent that we had that was covering another day broke her arm.
So if you make a little paper, I don't know, and say that you're looking for that, I will put it in my restaurant. I have lots of older people who are always looking for something to do.
Okay.
And you might be able to get, and there's a couple of the places I would say on Calhoun Street that you could do that, which is still in the same vicinity, and you can probably get a lot more help.
Okay.
And away from all the other stuff that's happened.
Is there any additional comments or questions regarding the request from the Hayward House? application?
I can get that answer for you too, by the way.
You know something? We'll wait. You're fine. You're great.
Can we get a motion?
Move that we approve to the Historic Bluffton Foundation, the Welcome Center at the Hayward House, their requested amount of $175,000 for continuing operations.
Second.
Any discussion?
This goes along with, as far as our, what our DMO does. This is this is one of the gems that we have here. And before you leave, I just have an idea maybe for fundraising. You mentioned Doug Corcoran. Just something that, I don't want to say this is how we did it up north, but this is how we did it up north.
All those in favor of approving the motion, raise your hand, say aye.
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 Unanimous, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
So, we would be for SOBA.
Soba, your old friend. I'm Mary Ann Bergeson, and I'm the president of SOBA. I have been for 2 years, and like a crazy person, I'm running for a third year as president. We've made a lot of improvements this year. We've seen our tourists come back. We were closed, of course, for a while for COVID, and we're still playing catch up with what went on then. We have a whole new marketing team as opposed to just one person who is handling our marketing now. We have been advertising in statewide magazines and publications. We were just part of the magazine that, what are they? Vacation Planner for Bluffton, that's it. And we bought ads in that, and I understand that's going in hotels in addition to the airports. So I think we have, we're spending our advertisement money wisely. We are very heavy into social media. We have two different Facebook social media, or Facebook sites for SOBA. One is for the public and one is for the members. And we post several times a week in those and get 400, 500 hits. We have a following of, I don't know, like several thousand, many thousand. SOBA is doing well. SOBA remains the only nonprofit art community in Bluffton. And our tourists, we have lots of good feedback from our sales and from our on the Facebook page and Google. We're heavy into Google now and Google Maps to find SOBA. So we have appreciated your support in years past, and we would appreciate it again. I'm happy to answer any questions. I think what I laid down in the application was explained our mission. We are teaching classes, many classes now. Every year we get more and more classes for children. We have tourists from in different places in the country calling to ask if they can. They say we're coming to Hilton Head or we're coming to Bluffton for the month of July. What do you have for children? So we've got enrolled kids in our kids program from all over the country. When we had our judged art show, we had entrants from all over the Southeast. So we feel like we're doing our best to spread the beauty of Bluffton and spread the reputation of Bluffton, and we appreciate your support.
Thank you. Anybody have specific questions or even general questions? That can't be true.
No, it is. Let me go home and eat.
Can we get a motion? Would you get a motion, man, Mike?
Make a motion to approve the amount of $16,063 to the Society of Bluffton Artists to promote arts in the Low Country and beyond.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 I believe it was unanimous again. Thank you all. One thing I think I had to say,
Thank you so much.
thank you. I think with that, we can get a
Nope.
motion to adjourn.
No. No, I have two things real quick. I'm sorry. So Natalie, since you're leaving, thank you for all your work that you've done.
I'm not going far.
You're not going to be part of this as much. But my other thing is I just want new staff to realize, or know if you don't already, that in July, we had a workshop to change our application, and I would really, really, really suggest we do that because our application. But that would be my thing. My second question request, I'm sorry, is that when they're this big, like, I'm crazy busy, and it took me like staying up very late to look at all of these in 6 days. If we could have maybe a little more time, if possible. Those are my two things.
That was our goal, and that was our goal. Hands down, that was our goal, because we knew how big and large this packet was. It just,
So, and then to address your first point was the stuff that we talked about back in July of last year. They're supposed to be finalizing that up anytime soon, right? For our meeting the other day. So,
Yay, that'd be great.
Progress, Mr. Chairman. Our next meeting is,
next meeting is August. These will go to town council June 14th.
I will not be here.
Okay.
I'll be leaving on a jet plane
Fine.
after 3 years of not seeing my grandkids.
Oh, good.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Rock and roll.
Everybody have a great week.